Is this dump finally over, or do we need to be prepared for further downside? That is something that I want to talk about today, because there are some signs that are leading to one specific direction here. If you want to know which way this is most likely leaning, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, and also activate the bell so that you will never miss out on these really important updates. And now let me show you in this really quick update what I have found here today. Let me start off with something that is massively influenced the market, and it does not matter what your TA skills are, you can throw them out of the window right now for that really specific reason. And that is the escalation between Iran and Israel. Only because they are potentially starting a war, I don't see the connection really why these two small countries could ignite a third world war. I understand the relationship between Israel and the US and so on, but the US said already, don't get us involved, so they're like standing aside and say, hey, that's your fight, so if you want to beat them up, but don't drag us into that, So for that reason, I don't understand how an escalation in that region could unstabilize world peace, so to speak, and create a third world war. I'm not seeing it, so that's why I don't understand why the markets react in the way that they're reacting by potentially having a war in that region. Anyway, sometimes the markets are irrational when to these kind of situations, but because of these wars, if tomorrow or tonight Israel comes out and says, hey, we just sent 500 warheads over to Iran, for the retaliation, what they did over the weekend to Israel, the market might drop again. But here comes something really interesting. The day when we had in the past a breakout of war, you see it here in the Vietnam War, we had always a drop and afterwards a market rally. So with a drop here along the way, somewhere in the middle again. And then the rally continued. And in the Gulf War, we had the same thing. In the Iran War also. And also in the Crimea War. And again, with the war between Ukraine and Russia. And potentially now again with Iran and Israel. So every time when a war is breaking out, markets are selling off. But shortly after, recovering and going back up. Same will happen also here. So I'm not concerned about that. And that's also the reason why I'm slowly getting into new positions here. I'm not completely fully allocated yet, but I told you yesterday I'm starting to go all in, and I'm actually doing that. The lower we drop, the more I'm actually adding to my portfolio. I'm just a little bit more careful where I'm doing this. And when I look here at something like the 30 minutes time frame, for example, on Bitcoin. Now, here on the 30 minutes time frame, we have a bullish pattern. We have here a broadening ascending wedge. We have clear resistance here at the horizontal level of $63,700. And we have here this downward sloping support line. In the worst case, could bring us down to like $60,900. Do I think that we could go down to this level? Yes, I believe there could be one more shakeout to that level. And then we finally come up and go higher here. Do I believe that we get under like $60,000 back into the 50s? I don't believe that this is going to happen. I will show you also multiple reasons for that. But again, take it with a grain of salt right now, because if another country gets involved in the conflict and says, hey, we are getting involved, we are siding with Israel, we are siding with Iran, so that could, again, create some turmoil in the markets where we drop actually lower. So we are a little bit news driven right now. So take this with the technicals here right now with a little bit grain of salt. If that broadening wedge would play out here, then this would give us a target, if we break here to the upside, of potentially around $65,800, something like that would be the imminent target. So the level below here flip now into resistance on the way up. And when it comes to the indicators, the stochastic, maybe another 8 to 12 hours before we bottom out here. So actually we get in 25 minutes a new candle. That means another 8 hours ish before we are bottoming out here, which is no guarantee that we flip directly back to the upside, but at least the sell side momentum should be then also gone from this time, from the 30-minute time frame here. Now, when we go to the 4-hourly chart, 4-hourly chart. No, there it looks the same. Sorry, I was on the 30-minute time frame before. 4-hourly chart, same thing. Another 8 hours of sell pressure potentially before we see a move here to the upside. Maximum 12 hours, but in these 12 hours, we could get close to $60,000. I just want to make you aware of that. I don't believe that we are breaking here again under 60K, but we could get close to it and then finally go back up, and do something like a W and continue back the uptrend. Do I believe that we could still rally into the halving? Yes, potentially. Yes, we could still do that. And if the situation loosens up a little bit, between Israel and Iran. When I'm looking here at the 1-hourly time frame, I wanted to go to this 4-hourly time frame. Things are looking not so healthy here anymore because of the level that we just about to lose here of $62,700. If we close a 4-hourly candle below that level and we are not coming straight back up here, this will be a heavily bearish sign for the market, especially if we would break under $59,340. So if we do that, we create a lower low and break market structure. So just that you know what's actually going on, So if we take out that low, we are breaking market structure. Then when we go to the liquidation levels, I don't want to rule out anymore that we are cleaning up all this liquidity concentrated here, but this is basically the last bit of liquidity that can be taken out. Beneath that, there is not a lot of liquidity. Look at this here, so it makes no sense, So why should we drive here back to like $40,000? I'm not seeing this, So I don't believe that's going to happen. So the last bit of a liquidity grab to liquidate some long positions is around the $60,000 area before we bounce back to the upside. So here also something that I want to point out when it comes to liquidation levels. If we get to $72,000, we are liquidating $3 billion worth of long positions. So you see here only on that level is $1.3 billion at $71,700 approximately, once we are pushing to that level here. So, and how much can we take still to the downside? 300 million, 125, so 400, let it be 430, 430, what's here? 500, 600 million, 600 million and a little bit here, 650 million if we go to $60,000. Again, logic dictates liquidity is to the upside. So we should go back to the upside as a market maker to take out all the short liquidity. Again, they make $3 billion, they're not making $3 billion, but there's $3 billion worth of liquidations, short liquidations, if the price goes back to $72,000, which is now 15% away from where we are right now. But have we seen moves like that in Bitcoin in one single candle on a day? Yes, we have. Even in an hourly candle. I remember 2020 when Michael Saylor and Elon Musk were tweeting about Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up 20% the same day, in a 4-hourly candle, So it's definitely possible. I don't want to rule that out. We're going to trigger a massive short squeeze on that way to $70,000 once we are starting to go back up here and are trading above $67,000. Again, I don't want to rule out that we have one more leg to the downside to like 60K before it's actually happening. But I also want to give you, because on the higher time frames, we are not looking that bad. If you just look here on the weekly time frame or even the monthly time frame, let's put this on the monthly time frame. We have the first red candle in how many months? 3, 4, 5, 6. After 7 months, we put in the first red candle. Should we really complain? I think we should not really complain at this point, that we after 7 months have the first red candle in a bull market on top of that, So we have in bull markets red candles. So most likely when I compare that to the bull run of 2021, we are most likely here right now, most likely kind of there, So in the worst case, we are kind of like here, here in June. No, that was just before the halving. So yeah, more like September. That was the month after the halving. Everything, again, because of the ETFs, happened earlier. So that puts us kind of in where we are at right now. And then you see afterwards was, again, a couple of months just to run to the upside. I still believe that something like this is more or less playing out here over the next couple of months. And if we put in now one red candle, does it really matter? Not for me, it does not really matter. Let there be one red candle. And the other thing is, will this actually close as a red candle? We are only halfway through the month. This can still turn around and create a massive wick, and push here to like $80,000. So that's also something, so we are not at the end of the month yet, and this can still change. So again, I would be positively surprised if we turn this around and turn this into a green candle. But of course, I would welcome that, So, but yeah, right now it's not looking like it. I want to be honest with you guys here. It's not looking like it that we're doing it, but the market can surprise us. When we're going here to a daily time frame for Bitcoin, yeah, you can also clearly see if we lose here 60K, so then we most likely go down to like 54, 58, something like that. Again, for now, it does not look like it that we are going to do that we lose that level. But if we do, remember we have here an M pattern and the target should be normally 50K. So where's the M pattern? If you don't see it here, there's the McDonald's pattern that makes us apply to go to McDonald's to work there. So we are basically already under the neckline, under that support line of that M pattern. So again, the day is not over. If we go back to $63,600, we most likely put in a Hail Mary pattern where we turn around from something like this. But if not, I hope by tomorrow that we come back up and invalidate that candle of today here. So big question now. Do I believe that this dump is over and that we can safely invest our money back into the market? Not today, guys. I would wait another day or two, even until next week, potentially next week. Let the halving pass. The halving is in 4 days, which is Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's on a Saturday. Wait until next week, Monday. Unless we are above something like at least $67,000, So I would say around $67,000. It's quite safe that we continue now back to the upside, which isn't, I understand it's an 8% move in Bitcoin, and altcoins, some of them will pump like 20-30% on that on that move when it's going to happen. But you want to make sure that we maintain market structure and continuing the uptrend, and we only can be sure if we reclaim $67,000. That's the level where I'm super sure that we are continuing. Let's be here more cautious than too much of a degenerate and gamble our money away. Right now, what you want to do is you want to add and build slowly some new positions. So if we drop here again to like 61,400, you want to buy a little bit across the market, whatever you want to buy. If we go to 60, you want to buy. If we go to 58, you want to buy. And the same on the way back up, Again, when we come back to like 60, you want to buy. At 61,400, you want to buy again. At 63,700, you want to buy again. At 65 and at 67, there you should be then completely in, So I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm scaling into positions. I start buying slowly, deploying 5 to 10% on each of these steps here. And once I see a bigger reversal coming, I start making these allocations bigger and bigger until I'm fully allocated. And that's the best play that you have right now. And that's basically already for today's episode. We don't need to talk about anything else. I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure that you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And I'm going to see you then, hopefully with better prices tomorrow.